shots everyone wants to see, the adventure. But in order to make that happen, you have to become intimately familiar with your boat. For example, by doing your own maintenance and installations. We are back in the marina, and it is project time. Look what we have going on. We have new solar panels, which we are slowly going to be installing. And also, before I forget, our fire drill. A lot of you had some great comments, and the majority of them were, you need more fire extinguishers, you need bigger fire extinguishers. Well, we were out and about yesterday, and look what we found. We have a new fire extinguisher, and it's the biggest one, and now we have 4, so at least we're increasing it. So for those of you who commented, thank you for commenting. We loved reading it. Yes, we know we could have used more fire extinguishers. We just never were successful in finding them here, and now marina equals projects, and continuous projects. First thing, we've found a couple of taglines. Now we just have to figure out where the heck those taglines go, because we think they go under the floor, which would be awesome. Yeah?
Why you want to have the shortest run possible and also accessible, and why that's
and
matter.
I know the answer to that. We want a short run because we will have less voltage drop, right?
Yeah.
And second, less wire equals less weight on the boat. Yeah? Is there a third?
Those are the main reasons.
Okay, those are the main reasons. Yeah?
What are other considerations when you're looking for a wire run?
What are other considerations for when we're looking for a wire run? I don't know. When we're looking for a wire run.
When you're considering a path for your wires to run, what are other things to consider?
I don't know. Weight, the voltage drop, the bundle, how many wires are there?
Okay, that's a good one.
Heat.
Because what does that impact?
Heat.
And ampacity, allowable ampacity. What does ampacity mean?
I don't know.
The maximum current that's safe to put through that.
Okay.
Okay, and what's the other considerations when you're doing wire run?
I don't know.
How about what's a consideration when you're doing like a line, running a line?
Chafe.
And why does that matter?
Because if you create chafe, you can create a short or a fire.
Yep.
Good thing we got another fire extinguisher. No.
Doesn't get a boost, there's a reward.
Okay, the search begins for this tagline. Successful. We found 2 of the taglines of the 3. Start off here, which is exactly what we want, because our solar panel is going to be, one of the solar panels is going to be here on the netting. And this is one tagline. I don't know how I didn't see that before. Let's see if we can see that. So there's one tagline that we're going to be using into this tube. The other tagline that we saw in the battery compartment. There we go, there's the tube. Oh, I'm happy we found that. That's going to be a clean run. Gotta keep her looking clean, right? Yay! So you know what the next step is? It's running that wire. Yeehaw! Say again?
First little test to make sure we have the correct line.
Okay.
Okay, nice and easy.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Okay, starting.
Okay, hang on.
It's a little hard. I don't
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Pull.
Pull or hold?
Pull.
Okay.
How hard were you pulling? Was it just a gentle tug, or were you?
I wasn't yanking on it, but I was giving it some more pull.
Yeah, don't yank, for sure don't yank. But it's gonna take some pull.
Okay. Okay, here's that. Yay. Right there? Oh, I am so happy that worked. Yes.
Man cutting wire.
We're not done yet, but we are getting closer. All right, this is the result of the solar panel. We have it here on the net, and we can choose which net, obviously, that we would like, because we made it removable. And this is what the stitching looks like with Dyneema. We did also the side so that when we're underway, we're able to have the solar panel here, unless it's like really crappy weather. but we have multiple tie downs, and I was actually pretty surprised at how well my little Kenmore machine went through the solar panel. Then we have our cord. This is the run that we found, and I made a little cover for it. So I'm very happy. Originally, we thought about placing the solar panel up here. That would involve drilling into the deck, sanding away this beautiful non-skid to adhere the panel, and then if anything were to ever go wrong with the panel, just having to like peel that away. The way we did it, we can move it to places that we need to. We didn't have to do any drilling into the deck, which is a huge plus. And it stays a lot cooler, which is awesome as well. So we're really happy with how that turned out. Next on the list is to change out the lashings. Since we've been in the marina, we haven't just worked on installing solar and doing the rigging. We also got new chain. Ryan did a beautiful splice from the rod to the anchor chain, changing out the impellers, changing belts. We installed a analog to NEMA converter for the instruments because the hours on the engine instruments are so hard to read, and we don't have fuel gauges, so Ryan has to calculate roughly how much diesel we have in the tanks using the hours that we've been using the engine. We wanted to replace the instruments, but they're $1,000 per instrument. No, thank you. The coolest thing is that it gives us all the information that we need for the engine instruments, from tachometer to everything, all on our B&G chart plotter. Haha, how cool is that? All right, it is time to get to the rigging. We ordered from Defender 5/16 to do the lashings on the uppers, and we took it out and we had to take the calipers because we thought this looks thicker than 5/16, and it is. So this is a real bummer. The tag for it shows 5/16, but it's not. A real bummer. So we have to work with what we have on board, and next time we're back in the States, we'll get the correct diameter, but that won't be for a long time.
Perfect. And the two marks are exactly on each other. The purpose of these stitches, it doesn't add any strength to the splice, especially when it's under load, but it prevents it from becoming looser if the load is slack. For example, when this is the leeward shroud, so sometimes it'll kind of be a little bit floppy. Not totally sloppy, but a little bit sloppy, and that's actually proper. You want to make sure that the splice doesn't work loose when that's happening. Really, the strength of the splice comes from this section here, basically when it gets tight, this whole thing puts friction on the Dyneema. So with like polyester line, you can use like half this length of the tail where it tapers, but with Dyneema, because it's so slippery, you have to really go the full length. 72 times the diameter, which is 3.5 fid lengths, is the kind of most recommended length. And then you have to taper the tail underneath so that there's no sharp edges, because every little bend in Dyneema takes a tremendous amount of strength out of the line. Like a knot can lower the strength by like 30%, way more than like a double grade polyester or something like that. For taper, I usually go every 5th pair of strands, cut those out from the tail for about 6 or 7 pairs, and then take a look at it and see what I think. There's another way to do this that is sometimes better, and that's you go sailing, and then you would sail, for example, this is the starboard shroud, so you'd sail on port tack in relatively flat water at about you know, not too windy, 10-15 knots, something like that. kind of a beam reach, and then that will loosen the tension on this shroud enough that you can manually tighten it, tension it up, and then you tack and do the same thing on the other side. You go back and forth until mast is totally in column, and that you have the leeward shroud just starting to get a little bit sloppy when you're right about at the wind speed that you would start to think about putting your first reef in. So that's kind of the conventional, but we don't have any good areas of flat water that are long enough where I can do that. So with this method too, which works pretty good also, but it's a little bit more awkward. Let's go, Nicole.
Yep. Secured.
Let's go. Okay, so you basically go around through, second time around through, but you pull it so it snaps on top of the first line. Third time around and through, and pull it so it snaps on top of the first two. It's similar to a rolling hitch, the start of a rolling hitch. You want to do it even a little bit lower than this would be more ideal, because then how it expands here sort of helps keep tension on the line. Caligo, if you go to Caligo Marine, they do a great job explaining how to tie this knot. From here, you can do half hitches a couple of different ways. You need like 4 or 5 is ideal. If you do always in the same direction, I'm not gonna have enough line. If you do them always in the same direction, it starts to make like a spiral. I like to do them in opposite directions to make more like a spine. That's just personal preference. But unfortunately, I'm not sure we have enough line to finish this off. We might have to redo this knot lower so that we have a little bit more tail for the half hitches. Let's see. 1. I can't even get 2 really.
Oh no.
So we're fucked by Defender this time.
So we did take this apart again, made the knots starting a little bit closer down to here so that Ryan could get a couple more half hitches on here. Obviously we like to do more half hitches, but we don't have enough line. Ryan came up with a clever, ingenious idea that he conferred with Caligo and got the thumbs up. It's something new that he hasn't heard of, but he thinks it will work. And you're gonna have to stay tuned to see what Ryan thought of and what we're gonna do next.